Jack Abbott wakes up with a violent jolt. His head is pounding. His vision is blurry. And nothing around him looks familiar. Cold concrete. Dim light. A locked metal door. This isn't the Abbott mansion. This isn't any place Jack recognizes. And within seconds, the terrifying truth begins to sink in. Jack Abbott has been kidnapped. Again. But this time, the situation may be far more dangerous than anyone realizes. Jack slowly pushes himself upright, trying to fight through the dizziness. His memories return in fragments. The last thing he remembers is feeling strange, lightheaded, just before everything went black. Chloroform. Someone drugged him. Someone planned this. And there is only one man in Genoa City ruthless enough to orchestrate something like this. Victor Newman. Jack clenches his fists as the realization hits him. Victor has crossed the line many times before, business battles, personal vendettas, psychological games, but kidnapping Jack again. That means this war has reached a terrifying new level. Jack walks toward the door and pounds on it. No answer. Silence. Wherever Victor has taken him, it's remote, hidden, carefully chosen. Jack exhales slowly, trying to steady himself. Anger burns through him now, replacing the confusion. Victor thinks he's won. Victor thinks he can control the board. But Jack Abbott has survived every one of Victor's attacks before, and he's not about to surrender now. Across town, the Abbott mansion is filled with tension. Diane Jenkins Abbott is packing the living room. Kyle Abbott stands nearby, staring at his phone for the 100th time. Neither of them has heard from Jack. Not a call. Not a text. Nothing. And the silence is beginning to feel terrifying. Then the front door opens. Billy Abbott walks in. The look on his face says everything. Something is very wrong. Diane immediately turns toward him. What happened? Where is Jack? Billy hesitates. For a moment he looks like he doesn't even want to say the words. But then he takes a breath. Victor Newman has him. The room freezes. Kyle stares at Billy, stunned. Diane shakes her head instantly. That's impossible. Billy wishes it were. But Victor made it very clear. The ultimatum came directly from him. Victor Newman claims Jack Abbott has been taken. And unless Billy gives up control of Chancellor by the end of the day, they will never see Jack again. The words hit like a bomb. Diane's face drains of color. Kyle looks furious. That's insane, Kyle says. Victor can't just kidnap someone. Billy doesn't answer right away. Because deep down they all know the truth. Victor Newman absolutely can. And worse, he has done it before. The memory hangs in the air between them. Victor has abducted members of the Abbott family in the past. He has manipulated situations, controlled people, forced impossible choices. This isn't just another threat. This could be very real. Kyle runs a hand through his hair, trying to process the situation. If Victor really has Dad, he says slowly, then we need proof. Billy nods. That's exactly the problem. Victor didn't provide any. No photo. No message from Jack. Nothing. Just a chilling warning. Give up, Chancellor. Or Jack disappears forever. Kyle's anger explodes. That's it, he says, I'm going to Victor. Diane turns sharply toward him. Kyle. But Kyle is already moving. He's not going to sit around while Victor Newman plays games with his father's life. If Victor is lying, Kyle will expose him. And if Victor really does have Jack, Kyle is going to make him pay. Meanwhile, somewhere far away from Genoa City, Jack Abbott sits in captivity. He has checked the room 3 times now. The door is solid steel. The walls are reinforced. The tiny light above him buzzes faintly. Victor planned this carefully. Jack leans against the wall and shakes his head in disbelief. All of this just to force Billy into surrendering Chancellor. Victor isn't just attacking Jack. He's attacking the entire Abbott family. But Jack knows something Victor might not expect. The Abbotts don't surrender easily. Back at Newman Enterprises, Kyle storms into the building like a man on a mission. The receptionist barely has time to react before Kyle is already heading toward Victor's office. Moments later, the door swings open. Victor Newman looks up calmly from behind his desk. Almost like he expected this. Kyle, Victor says coolly. Kyle doesn't sit. He doesn't even slow down. Where is my father? Victor studies him for a moment. Completely unfazed. I have no idea what you're talking about, Victor replies. Kyle slams his hands onto Victor's desk. Cut the games. Victor simply raises an eyebrow. Kyle's voice rises. You told Billy you kidnapped him. You said we'd never see him again unless he gives you Chancellor. Victor leans back slowly. A faint, unreadable smile crosses his face. I made a business proposal. Kyle's patience is gone. That's not a proposal, he snaps, that's a threat. Victor's expression hardens. Sometimes, Victor says quietly, threats are necessary. Kyle stares at him, trying to read him, trying to figure out if Victor is bluffing. But Victor Newman is the master of psychological warfare. And Kyle realizes something terrifying. Victor isn't giving anything away. No hint. No confirmations. Nothing. Kyle leaves Newman Enterprises with more questions than answers. If Victor truly has Jack, he's hiding it perfectly. Back at the Abbott mansion, the tension is reaching a breaking point. Diane is furious. Billy is packing. Kyle finally returns. Well, Diane asks anxiously. Kyle shakes his head. He denied everything. Billy sighs heavily. That was predictable. Victor would never confess. Diane's frustration explodes. This is all your fault, she snaps at Billy. Billy stops packing. My fault. Yes, Diane fires back. Victor wants Chancellor and he's using Jack to get it. Billy's jaw tightens. He didn't ask for this war. Victor started it. But now Jack is the one paying the price. Diane crosses her arms. There's only one way to stop this. Billy already knows what she's about to say. You need to give Victor what he wants. Billy stares at her. You want me to hand over Chancellor? Diane doesn't hesitate. If it saves Jack's life, yes. The words hang heavily in the room. Billy looks conflicted. Chancellor is more than a company. It represents power, victory, independence from Victor's control. But Jack is his brother. Family. And family has always come first. Kyle looks between them. We don't even know if Victor actually has dad. Billy exhales slowly. But deep down, he knows something Kyle doesn't want to accept. Victor Newman doesn't make threats like this unless he's already several moves ahead. And somewhere out there, Jack Abbott may already be paying the price. Meanwhile, across town, a completely different scheme is quietly unfolding. Holden Novick is meeting with Audra Charles again. And this time, he has a dangerous idea. Holden leans forward slightly. You still want Kyle, right? Audra watches him carefully. She already knows Holden rarely does anything without an angle. What are you suggesting, she asks. Holden smirks. Simple. Break Kyle and Claire apart. For good. Audra's eyes narrow. You want me to sabotage their relationship? Holden nods. That bond between them, it's the only thing standing in your way. Audra leans back in her chair, considering it. It's a risky move. Claire is not someone who forgives betrayal easily. And if this plan backfires, Audra could make a powerful enemy. But Holden's words linger in her mind. Kyle, Claire, and the possibility of destroying their relationship forever. Back in the dark rooms, Jack Abbott sits quietly, waiting, thinking, and one terrifying question echoes in his mind. Is Victor planning to release him? Or eliminate him? Because if Billy refuses to surrender Chancellor, Victor Newman might be willing to take this war to a deadly new level. And if that happens, the Abbott family may be about to face their worst nightmare yet. But the real question is even more terrifying. Is Victor Newman bluffing? Or has Jack Abbott already become a prisoner in a game the Abbotts can't win? Billy Abbott cannot stop thinking about one thing. Jack, his brother, is missing. Possibly kidnapped. And Victor Newman is the only man with both the motive and the power to pull something like this off. Billy stands alone in the Abbott living room, staring out the window. The weight of Victor's ultimatum hangs over him like a storm cloud. Give up, Chancellor, or Jack disappears forever. Victor didn't give them proof. But Billy knows Victor. And Victor Newman doesn't bluff unless he's certain the pressure will work. Behind him, Diane Jenkins Abbott is still furious. She refuses to sit down. Her anxiety is too strong. This is insanity, she mutters. Victor has completely lost his mind. Kyle Abbott rubs his temples. Or he's playing us, Kyle says quietly. Diane spins toward him. You heard Billy, Victor made it very clear. Kyle shakes his head. Clear threats but no evidence. And that's what keeps bothering him. Victor is many things. Ruthless, manipulative, dangerous, but he's also strategic. Victor normally enjoys revealing his power, showing proof, making sure everyone understands exactly who controls the board. This time, Victor gave them nothing. And that makes Kyle uneasy. Because it means Victor might be playing a much bigger game. Billy finally turns away from the window. I'm going to talk to Nikki. Diane's reaction is immediate. No. Billy looks confused. Nikki might be the only person who can get through to Victor. But Diane is already shaking her head. Absolutely not. Kyle watches them carefully. Diane's emotions are clearly running high. You don't think Nikki would help? Billy asks. Diane's eyes flash. Oh, she'd help, Diane snaps, but not in the way you think. Billy frowns. What's that supposed to mean? Diane crosses her arms. Nikki will always protect Victor first. That truth lands heavily in the room. Because everyone knows Diane isn't wrong. Nikki may care about the Abbott family. But Victor Newman will always be her priority. Diane takes a step closer to Billy. If you go to Nikki, Victor will find out immediately. Billy sighs. And then Jack becomes leverage, Diane says sharply. Billy's stomach tightens. He hates admitting it. But Diane has a point. Victor doesn't like being cornered. And if he feels the Abbotts are trying to outmaneuver him, he might tighten his grip on Jack even more. Diane's voice softens slightly. There's only one safe move right now. Billy already knows what she's about to say. You give Victor Chancellor. Kyle looks shocked. Mom, Diane cuts him off. This isn't about business anymore, she says, it's about Jack's life. Billy runs a hand through his hair. This is exactly the trap Victor wanted. Force Billy into an impossible choice. Power or family? Victory or survival? And Victor knows Billy well enough to understand the answer. Meanwhile, miles away from the Abbott mansion, Jack Abbott is still trapped. The dizziness from the chloroform is fading now. His thoughts are sharper, more focused. He studies the room again. Victor's people did their job well. No weak points. No windows. No obvious escape route. Jack exhales slowly. Victor always believed he was the ultimate chess master. But Jack knows something about Victor's strategy. Victor likes control. Victor likes watching his enemies panic. Which means Victor probably expects the Abbotts to react emotionally. To make a desperate move. Jack clenches his jaw. He refuses to give Victor that satisfaction. But that doesn't change the reality. If Billy refuses to surrender Chancellor, Victor may decide Jack has outlived his usefulness. Back in Genoa City, Kyle Abbott is not ready to surrender. I'm not convinced Victor actually has Dad, Kyle says firmly. Billy looks at him. You think Victor bluffing? Kyle hesitates. I think he's manipulating us. Billy nods slowly. That sounds exactly like Victor. But something still feels wrong. Victor sounded too confident. Too calm. Like a man who already knows how the game will end. Kyle starts packing. If Victor really kidnapped Dad, he'd want us to know it. Billy frowns. What do you mean? Kyle turns toward him. He'd show proof, Kyle says, a photo, a recording, something. Billy considers that. Kyle might be right. Victor loves psychological pressure. But he also loves proof of dominance. So why hasn't he revealed anything? Unless Victor doesn't actually have Jack. Unless the entire threat is just a bluff designed to push Billy into surrendering Chancellor. Kyle stops packing. I'm not giving Victor what he wants until we know the truth. Diane looks horrified. You're willing to gamble with Jack's life. Kyle's voice rises. No, I'm refusing to fall into Victor's trap. Billy looks torn. Because both arguments make sense. Victor could be bluffing. Or Jack could be sitting in a locked room somewhere, waiting for rescue. And Billy has no way of knowing which is true. Across town, another dangerous plan is gaining momentum. Holden Novick is watching Audra Charles closely. You're thinking about it, Holden says with a smirk. Audra doesn't deny it. His proposal is tempting. Break Kyle and Claire apart. Remove the obstacle. And suddenly Audra's path becomes clear again. But the risk is enormous. Claire Newman is not someone who tolerates betrayal. If Audra crosses her again, the fallout could be brutal. Still, Audra has never been someone who backs away from risk. You're asking me to start a war, Audra says quietly. Holden shrugs. Love is war. Audra laughs softly. That's not love, she replies, that's sabotage. Holden leans closer. Exactly. Audra looks away for a moment. Her mind racing. Because Holden might be right. If she wants Kyle back, Claire has to be removed from the equation. And the only way to do that is to destroy their relationship completely. Meanwhile, Billy's phone suddenly buzzes. The room falls silent. Billy checks the screen. Unknown numbers. Diane's heart starts racing. Answer it. Billy hesitates, then presses the button. Hello. There's a pause. Then a familiar voice. Cold. Calm. Controlled. Victor Newmans. Billy's expression darkens instantly. What do you want? Victor's voice is smooth. I assume you've received my message. Billy clenches his jaw. You kidnapped my brothers. Victor chuckles quietly. That's a very serious accusation. Billy's patience snaps. Stop the games, Victor. Victor's tone hardens slightly. You have until the end of the day, William. Billy's grip tightens on the phone. If anything happens to Jack. Victor interrupts him calmly. Then the responsibility will be yours. The call ends. And Billy slowly lowers the phone. The room feels colder now. More dangerous. Kyle looks at him. What did he say? Billy exhales slowly. The clock is ticking. Diane's voice shakes. What are you going to do? Billy looks around the rooms. At Diane's. At Kyle's. At the weight of the decision pressing down on him. Victor Newman believes he has already won. But Billy Abbott has never liked playing by Victor's rules. Still, there's one terrifying possibility Billy cannot ignore. What if Victor isn't bluffing? What if Jack Abbott really is trapped somewhere right now? And every second Billy hesitates brings his brother closer to disaster. Because if Billy makes the wrong move, he might lose Chancellor forever. But if he waits too long, he might lose Jack forever too. So the real question now is chilling. Will Billy surrender everything to save his brother? Or will Victor Newman's deadly gamble finally destroy the Abbott family for good?